Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Lukman Hakim and I'm from Group 3. So today I will be presenting about cooling tower. So a cooling tower is a device, it's a heat rejection device that rejects waste heat to the atmosphere through the cooling of water. Okay, cooling towers are a special type of heat exchanger that allows water and air to come in contact between each other so that the temperature of the water can be decreased. Okay, so there are many different types of cooling towers, but the working principle of it are pretty much the same. Okay, most of them use the principle of evaporative cooling. Okay, evaporative cooling is the process where warm water from an industrial process, like factory, is pumped up to the top of the cooling tower, where the water distribution system is at. Okay, the water then gets distributed by cooling tower nozzles to the wet deck. At the same time, the air is being drawn through the air inlet levels, forcing water to evaporate. So evaporation causes the heat to be removed from the makeup water. So the hot air naturally rises out of the tire. So as shown in the slide below, the equipment that is provided in the pilot plant and is used by to run the experiment is the water cooling tower HE152. The purpose of this cooling tower is to cool down the hot water by allowing it to come in contact with the cooling air. So in the device, the water is pumped through the pipes directly into the cooling tower. So and then the cooling tower nozzles are used to spray the water through the film media to slow the water flow down and to expose maximum amount of water surface area possible for the best contact. The air is blowing the water as the water flows throughout the cooling water. When the air and water met, a small volume of water evaporates, creating an action of cooling. So the colder water gets pumped back to the condenser or to the equipment that absorbs heat. Okay, the process was repeated over and over again to constantly cool down the heated equipment or the condenser.
Okay, so for the theory of cooling tower is a design of heat exchanger in order to reduce water temperature by contacting between air and water. So there is two type of cooling tower, which is cross flow cooling tower, and the other one is counter flow cooling tower. The difference is cross flow cooling tower has 2 inlets while counter flow cooling tower has 4 inlets. So, the cooling tower is operated according to the first law of thermodynamics, which is conversion of energy. Energy cannot be destroyed, but can be passed from one form to another form. So, the main component in this experiment is enthalpy, which also can be defined as H equal to U plus PV. H is enthalpy, U is internal energy, P is pressure, and V is volume. So, the energy balance of the equation could also be defined as Q plus P is equal to H outlet minus H inlet. H outlet is the rate of enthalpy loss in the existing vapor, and H inlet is the rate of enthalpy gain. Q is the rate of heating and P is the rate work done by the pump on the water. So the mechanism of cooling tower, for the first thing is the warm water or the hot water will come inside this tube, and the spray disperser will disperse the water into small drop of water or tiny drop of water, and then the small drop of water will be attached to this side of plate, and then the cold air from the surrounding or the ambient air will be sunk into the cooling tower and will be cooling the thin layer of warm or hot water. And after that, the cold air will be sucked out from the cooling tower itself, from this fan. Okay, so the function of this thing was named drifter eliminator. The function of drifter eliminator is to recollect the water back. So when the cold air pass through the warm water, some of the water will be evaporated. So in order to recollect back the water, the evaporated water will collide into the thin layer, the plate of the drifter eliminator, and it will condense back, and we can recollect the water back into the system. Okay, it can be shown like this. The water condense on the surface, and then the water droplet will come back into the system. So this is how, if there is no drifter eliminator, the water will be directly lost from the cooling system into the outside of the cooling tower.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hazwan bin Jalaluddin from Group 3 in Lab Mass and Heat Transfer. Next is a daily application for the pet column. First method is a stripping, involve removal of dissolved ammonia from water. The second is absorption, which is a removal aerosol or pollutant gas from the wastewater. Second is distillation, which is mainly we found in the petrochemical industry, producing fuel for the transportation and also for the mixture separation. Next is a material and tools for the pack bag. For the packing material inside the column could be different, suitable to the type of material or the type of product. Here there are many types of packing material, but I only list for the ceramic resin ring, ceramic barrisader, metal pouring, and metal flexi mats. And second is the tools for the backpack. The number of tray and stash in the column is dependent on the desired purity and difficulty of separation. From the picture, we can see that there are many tools for the back column. For example, the tray, the feed inlets, the liquid from the condenser or the heat or from the heat exchanger, and then the bottoms for uh, the bottom for the liquid to flow out. Next is I'm gonna show how the bag works. So first the liquid on the heat exchanger will enter the bag column and through the packing material inside the column, and then the gas from the gas inlet will enter and will rise upwards throughout the column, mixing with the liquid, and then the remaining liquid will flow downwards towards the tank and will repeat the process again. And the gas that goes upwards will go to the outlet stream into the gas tank.
Okay, next we go to the application of cooling tower in industry. Firstly, we look at the main purpose of cooling tower for industry application are usually used to remove heat from various sources such as machinery or heated process material, and for remove the heat from the system. Okay, we go to the first application using a cooling tower in industry. Firstly, petroleum refineries. This application use very large cooling tower system. A typical large refinery processing 40,000 metric ton of crude oil per day, circulated about 80,000 cubic meters of water per hour through its cooling tower system. For the second application is the cooling tower are more used in food industry. For the food industry, the cooling system other than used for remove heat from the system, the cooling tower also used for sterilization processes. And in the food and beverage sector, many type of industry are using cooling tower and heat exchanger. For the example, for the food industry are using the cooling tower, which is oil refineries, sugar industry, cheese industry, wine industry, and juice food industry. And for last application, the cooling tower are mainly used in the nuclear power plant. For the nuclear power plant, the hyperbolic cooling tower are often using in the nuclear power plant.
In conclusion, cooling tower is very widely used in the industry because it is used to cool relatively hot water. In an ideal condition, the heat lost by water must be equal to the heat gained by air. But in actual practice, there are some losses that are inevitable. So as the humidity of the inlet air decreases, the performance of the cooling tower will be better. This is because it will lead to better mass transfer between water and the gas phase. That's all. Thank you.